Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another chapter reading. We are in the section called Sister. We are now on chapter 5. Why are you here? Go ahead and do me a favor, hit the like button. Let's get into it. Piety can lead to bad choices. I bet no one told you that growing up, I had one opportunity to feel like a bride, the dress. But it had about as much flair as a sack and covered more skin. I hate the way that she talks about this dress and how awful this dress was because her mom made this dress for her. And I wonder sometimes when she talks about it if her mother's feelings are ever hurt by her description of it. Because even though it may not have been ideal, the dress looked decent considering the time period. My opinion, tell me yours. Mom sewed it beautifully, and it was exactly what I wanted. Hmm. I knew I couldn't appear anything other than modest, or I might upset the other wives, who undoubtedly didn't want any hint of what would happen when the dress came off. We'll get to the polygamy PJs. They make special Mormon underpants seem sexy. Polygamy PJs? Does that mean that they don't sleep naked? Well, you know what? They probably don't if some of them are still wearing their garments. I wonder if they did. Okay, let me keep going. Though mom made the dress and lovingly so, she and I still felt uncomfortable together. Okay, she's giving it context. All right, that I had so thoroughly embraced our faith and intended to marry a man who lived plural marriage so soon after she had said she didn't believe any of it made it especially awkward. Still, mom seemed excited for me to marry Cody because she knew I loved him. I wish I had felt comfortable enough to ask her for advice, to ask her about her wedding. Had my second mom's wedding with its pretty burgundy dresses been awkward? Had they worked together to plan it? How did she make sure my mom was okay? Or did she? Did my mom work to make it less awkward for my second mom? Like most brides, I was so eager and excited and full of my own ideas that I probably didn't think to ask how I could make it lovely and inclusive. I also believed feeling like a bride would be inappropriate. I got so caught up in my piety that I couldn't relax and let the day be special for anyone. I couldn't do anything romantic because Cody's wives would be at the wedding. I couldn't be sexy. I couldn't make eyes at my fiance. I couldn't hold Cody's hand or whisper in his ear over cake. My piety may even have ruined my chances of finding true love. I worked at an auto dealership at the time, and I remember telling my coworkers that I refused to kiss Cody until our wedding had been blessed at the altar. I believe there was romance in that, but that belief came from old fashioned, puritanical control that had been written into the Victorian novels and embedded into my brain. Somehow, I had diminished the importance of intimacy and passion while embracing a burlap dress and a chaste first kiss in front of witnesses, my dad and my sister wives. My coworkers detected a problem. Wait, they said, you're going to go from a kiss to sex on the same day? Yeah, I said, gritting. It's fine. Fine. That was a difficult moment. My coworker's response gnawed at me, but I figured that, like all other good women living plural marriage, Cody and I would build our love over time, beginning with a friendship based in trust. I trusted that he wanted to marry me. But as my sister and I planned the wedding, Cody wasn't interested. After looking at the venues and tasting cakes and picking dress patterns, I was super excited about having a low key dinner on a riverboat after our tiny ceremony. Just do whatever you want to do, Cody told me. I'm too busy. See, all of this is giving context as to why she was so hurt by what we witnessed with Robin, because he really wanted to play a part in the birds' activities. Whereas with Christine, he didn't care what she had planned, what she had going on. He made it seem like she didn't have a reason to feel away when we're seeing that she legitimately did. I wish I had included Mary and Janelle in my wedding. It might have been fun. And it could have been a good way to build a strong relationship before I suddenly showed up in the third bedroom of their small house in Wyoming. I could have just asked them about their own weddings and what had been fun for them, but I worried about upsetting them, even though they had also chosen me to come into their family. I didn't do anything to let them know how thrilled I was to have them as sister wives, and that set the tone for an awkward day and problems to come. We are taught to believe that being strong enough to watch your husband marry another woman is why polygamy makes us better people, which goes back to why a lot of these women feel like they have to suffer. And the more suffering that they do, the better that they're going to be once they reach the celestial kingdom. Anyone who can push down the jealousy that inevitably arises has done some work on herself. But damn, the big day arrived, but not quite as the 5-year-old in the yellow towel imagined. We got married in my dad's living room. It made the most sense for religious reasons. I would be marrying Cody for eternity. I would be joined with Mary and Janelle. I would be the third wife, just as I had always dreamed, and I would be living God's principle. When I thought about kissing Cody, I felt all the butterflies a young woman who had never been kissed should feel. I felt nervous and in love. I remember Cody opening the door and looking at me in my shroud like dress, shrewd like dress. I remember realizing he was stressed out on our wedding day. I remember understanding he wasn't as excited to marry me as I was to marry him. Cody had 1,000-yard stare. We've heard about this time and time again. He said it, she said it. We've heard it in their book, we've heard it on the show. My God, I thought, what are we doing? I won't go into this ceremony. It's scared for those who it's sacred for those who practice polygamy. But I will tell you, my grandpa married us, and that my grandpa was the one who said, "You may now kiss the bride." Okay, so she didn't go into details because she's respecting how sacred it is for those who still follow it. In spite of what I had seen on Cody's face, I still imagined the kiss would be magical and it would seal us. It would be our first spark of intimacy. So they never had intimacy before that, is what I'm gathering. And you could have intimacy, in my opinion, without being physical. Intimacy can happen in conversations. And here she is saying that at this point, in the 3 years of knowing him, in the 3 months of their courtship, she never experienced any type of intimacy with him. Cody gave me a peck, barely brushing my lips. You know how people like to clap after that kiss at the altar? Silence. Wow, my grandpa said. That was the quickest first kiss I've ever seen. After that, I lost count of the awkward moments. I don't even understand why I wasn't the first woman to marry into polygamy. Shouldn't there be a playbook? Someone to say, listen, let's see you, let's set you up for success because this is going to be rough. Yes, I've said it before. I feel like a lot of these women go into this not knowing what to do, not just the women, the men as well, because they don't have the counseling in some instances. They don't have the talks, and they're not talking to other couples that can help them navigate this. They're just thrown into it. Their moms aren't telling them certain things. Like, it's really the blind leading the blind. We did pictures after the ceremony. How do you pose one man with three women? And of course, I wanted pictures of my new husband and me, but would that be offensive? Would Mary and Janelle be angry? I didn't know them well enough to know, and I didn't know anything well enough to ask. We did do the traditional photos, but I felt uncomfortable, not flirty, not beautiful, certainly not sexy. I didn't feel like a bride. Things just got worse after we arrived at our riverboat reception. My sister made me a beautiful bouquet, but I understood that if I tossed it, it would cause friction, so I didn't. It didn't matter. Mary and Janelle did not seem happy. Dinner was quiet. We all sat at one table, no separate bride and groom table, because I wanted Mary and Janelle to be there. But yeah, awkward. Hmm. I would love for there to be an insert, like right there, of how Janelle felt in that moment. I would love it, but I don't think we're going to get that. They know I thought, they know what we'll be doing later tonight. At the time, I couldn't imagine what that would feel like. I knew the basics of what would happen, but even though Cody and I had been friends for a few years, we exchanged no excited, silly banter on our wedding night. I still figured things would get better. When we got in the car to head off on our honeymoon, Cody still seemed morose, morose, morose. Where are we going to go? I asked. I figured this would be the moment when he could show me he'd put some thought into it, that he wanted to make me feel special. Well, he said, I don't know. What do you want to do? This man planned, what, 10 days with the bird? A weekend here with for Mary, a weekend for Janelle, and he doesn't know what he's going to do for Christine? You didn't plan anything? I asked, flabbergasted. I thought the groom was supposed to plan the honeymoon. No. So where are we going to stay tonight? I don't know, he said. I figured we just take it as it comes. I felt as if he punched me in the gut. Have you not thought about marrying me at all? He told me he had been too busy. He had two wives at home, and Janelle was expecting a baby. The evening remained awkward. In my original draft, I skipped from the evening remained awkward to the day after the wedding without going into the in between. I had a couple of women who are close to me read this, including one who lives polygamy, and they both said, You have to tell it. Oh, wow. But it's so painful looking back. I thought it would be the best night of my life. Magic. We stayed in a motel shaped like a castle near Ogden, Utah. Hope I said that right. Ogden, Utah. You like fairy tales, right? I remember Cody saying, I still had high hopes. I knew Cody already had some experience, so I thought I would be safe with him, that he would be careful not to hurt me. I wasn't completely clueless, and I had trusted him. I also thought because he had some experience that it would be, you know, good. Well, girl, I can tell you because I was like Christine. My person was experienced and I was not. And those first couple times it wasn't good. Obviously, it was good later. I mean, I had a child to prove it, but I'm just saying. Well, then again, that doesn't mean it was good. Okay, anyway, back to the book. Oh my gosh, my cheeks are burning. It hurt like crazy, and I cried. Oh no, Christine. I'm so sorry, he said, as I recall. But it hurt because there was no foreplay. Cody. That was her first time, and you didn't even make sure that she was prepared down there? even if it didn't happen naturally, you didn't purchase any type of lubricant or anything like that. You just violated her. I'm going to call it what it is. I'm going to say it's a violation. She consented. Let me make that clear. I'm not trying to say that part, but he didn't respect her body and he wasn't gentle with her. So to me, that's why I'm calling it a violation. It hurt because there was no foreplay. There was no anything. It was my very first time after having my very first kiss out at the altar, and he was experienced, so he should have known. I've been looking forward to this for so long, I said, crying from the pain. I envision hand holding, moonlight, gentle touches. I imagined feeling beautiful and adored. I imagined a loving acknowledgement of our eternal life together. For the rest of our honeymoon, I was too sore for us to try again. The day after the wedding, Cody needed to return his rented tux, and then we went to my mom's house so she could wash and store my dress. My sister was there. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "We're on our honeymoon," I said. "But why are you here? You're on your honeymoon. Go, just leave." We dropped everything off and then we started to drive. We hit random hotels and saw some neat things. It was a great car trip. I didn't know anything else. And it was romantic enough for me. I figured things would get better. Why am I not surprised that Cody is a selfish lover? Why am I not surprised? I am really, really bothered by the fact that he did not make sure that she was prepared for that, being the person of experience. It's selfish. Chapter 6. I associated them with pain. Sister wives aren't supposed to have any special privileges because, based on order of marriage. But some things are automatic and those things can cause friction. Because Mary was the first wife, she had the easiest wedding. Big dress, big cake, dancing, photos that don't include any extra wives. Legally, Mary and Cody were a couple. She could talk about him at work and take him to work events as her husband, and he could do the same. They had established themselves as a couple. They dated as monogamous and during that time, they could openly kiss and laugh and snuggle. Mary could even get crazy with a tight sweater when it was just the two of them. I had known them in those early days, and I had no doubt they were in love. He looked at her like he adored her. We all saw them as the perfect fun couple. So what switch? Let's keep reading. I can't imagine what it was like for Mary when Janelle married Cody 3 years later, or what it was like for Janelle to move into that situation. In our first book, Becoming Sister Wives, Janelle wrote about how she would sit in a chair in the living room while Cody and Mary sat together on the couch holding hands under a blanket. Janelle wrote that she felt like an imposter. And then, about a year after Janelle married Cody, I showed up in their 3 bedroom trailer in Wyoming. That was never going to end well. I believe Mary and Janelle would be settled in, so I would simply have 2 new women in my life and we would all support each other. Janelle and Mary both worked. Janelle for the state government and Mary at an engraving shop. And I plan to look for a job immediately. In my mind, we would basically be roommates, especially since Cody traveled much of the time for his job selling religious products and there weren't any children yet. Right. So I didn't know when I married Cody that Janelle and Mary didn't get along. Almost immediately, I felt like the middle woman between them, trying to keep the peace and bouncing around. I think I said this in the other book. If you do not have a situation correct with the first 2 wives, you shouldn't add a third. And the fact that they did that just shows they never had a healthy dynamic ever. because it shouldn't be a thing where the addition of Christine fixes this situation. Cody should have done the work with his wives. All right. Almost immediately, I felt like the middle woman between them, trying to keep the peace and bouncing around. That's probably how Cody felt too, like he was a ping pong ball that got whacked as he tried to figure out how to be married to three women, two of whom didn't like to be in the same room together. I think both Mary and Janelle hoped I could relieve some pressure, and while the wedding wasn't the best start, I do think I helped. Mary and I were already friends, and I got along with Janelle as well. Cody used to say I added equilibrium. We were young, and a lot of it was just nonsense, so it wasn't hard to choose to be positive, to keep trying to add fun. But Mary was so judgmental of everything Janelle did, I thought. I remember thinking, what does it matter what kind of pancakes she likes? Who cares? And Janelle was so independent that she'd just be like, I'm done, and she'd disappear, which wasn't easy in a three-bedroom trailer. I thought Janelle could be controlling too, especially when she had a project she wanted help with. Some of our behavior in those early days was personality, some of it situation, and some of it youth. I got along with Mary better, but only because Janelle tends to be quiet and shy, and we didn't have as much in common. We did things together like gardening, but it was more out of necessity for the family. We didn't have a ton of money, so we canned food together. I would help with whatever projects Janelle took on. Don't get me wrong, Janelle is lovely and easy to get along with. She's the nicest out of all of us. She's truly kind. I wish I had understood earlier how close we could be. Cody and Mary fought all the time, even if we were hanging out just chattering. Mary remembers it differently from how I do, but I remember it being volcanic. I think they were in love, just rocky. She got mad about everything, and I didn't understand why. I think she always doubted where she stood with Cody, and I don't think bringing in two more wives helped. It was the weirdest dynamic because Cody loved how Mary managed things from keeping house to raising children. So that gave her more clout in the day to day running of the household, but then they always fought. Jealousy was tough for all of us, but I think it was especially hard for Mary at first because she'd been the only wife for a while. While I could manage my relationship with Mary and Janelle, I felt like I didn't know Cody at all. I missed the fun loving friend I'd spent so much time with before we married, and his seriousness shocked me. I started to notice a major personality change. For the first few years of hanging out with him, I believed he was an independent thinker. After we got married, I was stunned to see how much he relied on other people's opinions. We really see that now. We saw that a lot with the bird, didn't we? We sure did. Before, when I thought about our future, I look most forward to how much fun we would have together because I'm me and I like fun. But everything changed in part because he was overwhelmed. We didn't have enough money. He fought with Mary. Mary and Janelle fought with each other, and Cody had to appear to outsiders as a monogamous. He remained distant from me, and while he had resumed his rotating schedule, he stayed a night with Mary, then Janelle, then me. I didn't feel as if he and I grew any closer. I knew how close he could be with Mary and Janelle. The walls were thin. Oh boy. Ooh. It's one thing to know your roommate is having sex in the next bedroom over. It's another when it's your husband and you can hear everything. Yes, we were all married to him. Yes, I knew what he was up to on the nights he wasn't with me. And yes, it shocked me how much it hurt to hear, especially when it sounded as if they had actual relationships where they talked and played and enjoyed each other physically. We were all careful not to demonstrate affection in front of the other sister wives. No hand holding or terms of endearment, but at night, I could hear their affection. It was different in my bedroom. When I got married, like most polygamists, I began wearing garments. We're not talking about the mainstream Mormon garments. Uh, Utahns know and love the long white boxers and t-shirts with the telltale smiley face neckline for men and the cap sleeve blouses for women. In our church, the garments, polygamy PJs, go to the ankles and wrist, so they look like more like long johns. They're meant to remind us of our covenant, protect us from evil, because it's hard to feel evil while channeling Colin Sanders and proclaim our faith to the world. They have been blessed and are considered sacred. I loved them, I did. They were perfect for my pious stage, and I love that they connected me to our faith and that they were symbolic of becoming a woman, at least in the eyes of our church. But as time went on, I associated them with pain. Yeah, I'm not trying to come down on anybody's belief system. I know for me, that wouldn't work. We were supposed to wear them all the time. Yeah, even then. But sometimes Cody and I wore them during sex, and it didn't seem to be for religious reasons, because if it were, wouldn't we always wear them during sex? What? According to the church, we were supposed to wear them under wetsuits when we swam, even if we were at the public pool. Nobody's going to wear a wetsuit to the public pool. That's just dumb. The garments are about as practical for sex as they are for swimming. It's messy and hot, and you end up with garment wedgies, and you get the picture. Actually, try not to think about that. Anyways, sometimes Cody wanted me to wear them. If I wasn't wearing the garments, he wanted me to wear lingerie, but it never felt like it was for sexy reasons. It felt like it was so I would be covered, so he wouldn't have to see me, so it wouldn't be skin on skin. She was like, wow, this is so deep. I wonder if he did this with the others. I was always covered. It would take me years to figure out why. It would take years for me to feel good in my own body. I had been so confident when I got married, but that part of my personality started to erode. That first year, I lost myself. Oh my goodness. Girl. Okay, we're going to read this next chapter cuz I'm flipping the pages and it's not long. Chapter 7. Janelle O. She was hurt, I was hurt. Janelle gave birth to Logan, the Brown family's first baby, 2 months after Cody and I got married in 1994. At the time, I thought Cody and I didn't have a honeymoon phase because Janelle's baby came so quickly after our wedding. I love being there for Logan's birth and supporting Janelle afterward. There's nothing better than the smell and the tiny feet and the burbles of a new baby. The kids, that's where I found true love. Every one of them. I had Aspen within the first year of our marriage, and her birth brought me a gift I never could have imagined: the ability to forgive. When I was pregnant with Aspen, I was chill. I was newly married, and I was excited about being pregnant. I was also oddly reasonable, not like myself exactly, and very much like Aspen is today. With Aspen, I even lost 30 pounds, but she was growing well, and it was never a concern because I had been heavy when I got pregnant. It would take me years to realize that I took on my children's personalities when I was pregnant with them. Oh, okay. I wonder what she was like when she was pregnant with McKelty. Because y'all know McKelty is a character. After I got pregnant, Cody went wedding ring shopping because he wanted to make sure I had his ring before my first prenatal appointment with Aspen. He'd given me the Kaleida for our engagement, but no gold band on our wedding day. I was a bit bummed that I didn't get to pick the new ring out with him. Not like pouty, but like the story. the having a good day and choosing something special together piece of the story. He picked a beautiful ring with a diamond in it, and I was thrilled and thought it was sweet that he made sure I had it before the appointment. He wanted everyone to know I was married. I plan to have Aspen in my grandma's house in Utah. In our culture, women have babies at home with a midwife, so we don't have to deal with weird questions at the hospital like, weren't you just here a couple of months ago with your other wife? Polygamists have always feared putting the father's name down on a birth certificate because it could serve as proof of bigamy in a lawsuit. But Cody would sign his name on each and every one of our kids' birth certificates. It was important to him to be the dad. Okay, so I thought that they said previously that Christine didn't have his name on the birth certificates. Now she's saying that he was on all of them. Let's keep reading. Because Cody travels so often for his job, I often handle my prenatal appointments on my own. Independence was hardwired into us because Cody couldn't. Even if he had worked 9 to 5 in town, attend to all three of us at once. So every month, I would drive down from my Wyoming to Utah for a prenatal appointment. As I headed back to Wyoming by myself one day, baby bumping against the steering wheel, I realized I needed tire chains to go up the mountain pass. I still don't know how to put on tire chains, but I definitely wasn't going to learn in the snow with a baby basketball. I walked into a gas station and asked if someone could help me. You'll be fine, they told me. Just get behind a diesel. You know what they say about chivalry. I drove behind a diesel through a blizzard in a terrifying South Pass, scared out of my mind, but I made it. When it was time, Cody joined me in Utah at my grandma's house. Our usual midwife couldn't make it because her sister was in labor, so she sent her assistant. It was my first baby and Cody's first home birth. As it turned out, it was our midwife's first home birth, too. My grandma had assisted with a few births, but my mom had helped with dozens of births. I didn't want my mom there. That's so sad. That is so sad. She had made my wedding dress, but she wasn't allowed to come to the ceremony because she wasn't a church member. We were okay together, but uncomfortable. I felt so angry, and I didn't see her as part of my community because she had left the church and my dad. But the birth didn't go well. Your hips just aren't lining up, the midwife said. I walked and walked, but my hips wouldn't cooperate, which hurt and could have made it harder for me to have the baby. Cody was incredible. There's no one I'd rather have in a room with me when I'm giving birth. As I walked around trying to get my hips straight, I would stop when I felt a contraction, put my arms around Cody's neck, and drop. He would move my hips, just swaying me from side to side to help my hips spread. I knew my grandma was making calls, but I didn't know to whom. She was calling my mom. I don't know what to do for her. Can you help? As I struggled through Aspen's birth for 11 hours, mom told grandma how to help ease my pain and realign my hips. I can't imagine what that was like for her. She quietly assisted, knowing that I couldn't be close with her, yet knowing that I didn't want her there for the birth of her grandchild. After the baby was born, I called my mom. She showed up the next day. When I saw her, I realized how much I needed her. That day, my heart could have broken from need, as I'm sure hers did the day before. As soon as she arrived, I relaxed. She took Aspen and I slept. You don't sleep until someone you trust holds that baby. And that is how we are going to end this reading. Y'all let me know what you thought. Okay, this is picking up. We're learning some things here, and some of these things are deep. I appreciate Christine being honest about this. Y'all let me know what you thought down below. Like the video as it helps the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Did I say that right? What are you waiting for? We're on the road to 3,000, and I hope to get there sooner than later. Until next time.